Hi friends, I'm so excited to share today's story with you. Last week you learned about Jesus showing up to some of his friends. What a special time that must have been. Jesus fulfilled his promises and rose from the grave. Now we get to celebrate that. How fun. But friends, have you ever felt like you were missing something? I don't know about you, but being at home all the time really does have me missing my friends. Jesus' disciples also went through a time where they felt like they were missing something. And they were. They were missing Jesus. They wanted to see him. There was a time after Jesus had died where the disciples were just feeling really confused and a little scared too. They felt like something was missing, and it was. It was Jesus. After Jesus died, the disciples didn't really know what to do. They were worried because all of the people in Jerusalem were very upset with them for following Jesus. They didn't want to die as well. They were also waiting because Jesus promised that he would fulfill God's promise and that he wouldn't stay dead. See, the disciples had a very important message to share with the world, but they had to wait for Jesus to tell them that it was time to share it. Sometimes it's hard to keep things to ourselves when it's just so exciting. We don't want others to miss out. The disciples knew that the story of Jesus was going to change the entire world. But until Jesus told them it was time, they had to wait. Waiting is really hard, isn't it, friends? We know that Jesus rose from the dead and spent some time with his friends, continuing to teach them more about God's word and how to teach it to others. Did you know that Jesus spent 40 days doing this? He was fully alive. He followed through on God's promise. At one point, Jesus told the disciples to meet him at a specific mountain in Galilee. They worshiped God there, but some of the disciples still kind of doubted. Jesus showed up and answered all of their doubts, telling them the most important thing. It was time to share their message. This message was so crucial. Jesus told the disciples, "Go, make disciples of all men, baptizing them in my name. I am with you always." He wanted the disciples to tell others about him because it was so important. Following God with everything and nothing less means that we go tell others about his message. Jesus is risen from the dead. He followed through on his promises, and God keeps showing up for us. Later, Jesus led the disciples to a place called Bethany. There, Jesus blessed the disciples. We don't really know what he said, but I bet it was so good. I like to think that Jesus was reminding them of their purpose, that they needed to spread a message of hope. That is a really big message, huh? Jesus was carried into heaven. What? What does that even mean? Did he just put on a jetpack and shoot into the sky? Did he hop onto an airplane and fly into heaven? No. The Bible tells us that Jesus was lifted up into heaven and a cloud took him out of the disciples' sight. They were just staring at the sky when angels appeared and asked them why they were still looking up at the sky when Jesus gave them work to do. The disciples headed towards Jerusalem and worshiped God the entire way. Isn't it so cool that Jesus gave the disciples a special message for the world? Jesus wants each one of us to follow him and share his message with others. The message of Jesus is a message that says that God will never leave our side Even when things are scary or uncertain or confusing, He will always be by our side, and He wants us to have hope that He is in control. God shows up for us and gives us purpose. That purpose is taking the message of Jesus to everyone. Thanks for joining me today, Pantano kids. I hope that today's story shows you that you have a purpose to serve God even when things are scary and uncertain. Have a great week.